If you've been charged with drugs or gun sales in federal court, chances are there was a confidential informant involved and or an undercover agent. So how does this come about? Generally, it comes about because somebody is charged with a crime. They've been involved with drug trafficking and they're looking at a 10-year mandatory minimum or maybe more because they have prior convictions. So they decide to cooperate with the feds. So before they're even arrested, or if their case is filed under seal, they can potentially do a lot of things to get you in trouble. They can wear a wire and engage in transactions with you. They can bring an undercover agent with them who, trust me, you will not know is an undercover agent. These people are really, really good. And they're going to buy or sell drugs, probably buy drugs from you. There's going to be a financial transaction that occurs. And these calls are usually being, or these visits or encounters are usually being recorded because the person has either a microphone in a button. They're very good at hiding these devices. It could be just a device in the cell phone that if they have their phone out, the phone is recording it. And generally speaking, there are agents nearby watching the transaction. So oftentimes they will have CIs or confidential informants meet the target, say at a Starbucks. They'll put the phone on the table and they'll just have a conversation, and the feds are outside listening to the call. Sometimes they will arrest the person right then and there. So they'll have a drug transaction and they'll walk out to their car in the parking lot and the feds will swoop them up, and that's the end of it. But there are times when federal agents will have CIs, undercover informants or undercover agents, engage in multiple transactions with a given defendant. So that's where it gets a little bit sticky, because if you didn't have the propensity necessarily to sell guns, say you were just selling drugs, and the informant says, can you get me some ARs, and so the person's like, well, let me see what I can do, because they want the money, because they need the money for drugs, they need the money for their families, whatever they need it for. They're going to try and make some more money, so they go and get guns for this guy. And then there's a 5-year enhancement on their sentence because they also sold guns. So I have a problem with that as far as the feds asking somebody to engage in an offense that they wouldn't normally engage in. It's not technically entrapment. Entrapment involves a lot more pushing and begging and pleading and bugging and, there's a lot more effort that has to go into getting somebody to do something that they would not normally have a propensity to do. But when a CI or an undercover agent has somebody engage in multiple sales, and then they end up with this huge quantity of drugs, the federal sentencing guidelines are based on quantities. So the more transactions they have you do and the more drugs you sell them, the longer your sentence is going to be. And that's really screwed up. What it does, though, for the informant is it reduces their sentence. So if there is, say you've engaged in a couple of drug transactions and all of a sudden you're arrested, there's a really good chance that there was an informant involved and or an undercover agent. So if you have that gut feeling, I think it was so-and-so, you're not going to find the identity of this person. You're not going to get the background history of this person right away. Although when you do read the discovery or the police reports or the 302s, whatever they are, you are going to know just based on that was the person I was engaging with, who it is. But you're not going to be given, their rap sheet. You're not going to find out how or why they were cooperating. Or maybe they were just somebody who wanted to get paid for their cooperation. Most of the time it's somebody who's working off a sentence, but every once in a while you'll get an informant who just likes helping the feds and likes informing on people, and who knows what motivates people. You never know. So anyway, if you are charged with possession and possession with intent to distribute, conspiracy to distribute any kind of narcotics or guns, chances are there's a CI involved.